Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us for this exciting announcement to share who our RFP review committee recommends to manage our 3 municipal golf courses here in Sioux Falls. By way of background, our current contract for management services expires on December 31st of this year. So as a result of that, this past July, the city launched a competitive request for proposals process for golf course management services. And as a result of that process, we're pleased to announce that we'll be issuing a notice of intent to award to Landscapes Unlimited out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Some of the key reasons the review committee made a unanimous selection include the committee truly felt like they offered a complete package of golf course management services. They have extensive golf course management experience with 46 properties under management across 16 states. And among those properties that they manage, 16 of those are municipal or daily fee courses, very much like the courses we have here in Sioux Falls. The other thing is that the reference checks have proved to be very positive. And another key attribute that the committee considered is that they intend to retain all existing golf course personnel. Now I'd like to turn it over to Scott Russ. Scott is with our finance office, and their team really led this process. He's our purchasing manager, and he'll talk you through the RFP process we use to formulate our recommendation. Scott?
Thanks, Don. The City Purchasing Division of the Finance Office led this RFP. The RFP is really a tried and true and widely used delivery method procurement professionals use to contract for services. The delivery method evaluates both quantitative and qualitative factors and is used multiple times a year by the City of Sioux Falls. The RFP itself really does a good job ensuring that taxpayers are getting a solid return on their investment. The city received proposals from 5 companies and shortlisted down to 4 proposals and interviewed the following firms: Kemper Golf, Landscapes Unlimited, Dakota Golf Management, and Great Life. It was identified early on that the development of the RFP that we would have a wide cross-section of informed evaluators, not only from the city, but from the City Council, the Parks and Recreation Board, and the citizens of Sioux Falls to score these RFPs. The names of the evaluators are as follows. The Director of Finance, Tracy Turback, Director of Parks and Recreation, Don Kearney, City Council Member, Marshall Selberg, Parks Board Representative, Lorraine Lindquist, citizen golfer, R.J. Thompson, and another citizen golfer, Jim Lowe. The criteria we used to select the best proposal is listed on the board to my left, to your right. The criteria was developed in conjunction with the National Golf Foundation and was used to score these RFPs. I was very pleased on how well this evaluation went. My team oversaw this evaluation. Most of the committee members volunteered their time, their talent, and did a great job. They pored over these RFPs, they read through them, and they created a lot of dialogue amongst the committee members during the evaluation process. They asked some very tough questions of each and every firm. In the end, the scoring was unanimous, and our intent to award is to Landscapes Unlimited.
Thanks, Scott. Now I'd like to turn it over to Tom Everett. Tom is the president of Landscapes Management Company to provide their thoughts regarding the process and what this means for their company. Tom?
Thank you, Don. You bet. Judging by the turnout this morning, I'd say the culture of golf in Sioux Falls is very strong, and we're pleased to be here. We are very pleased to have been selected to lead the golf course operations into the future for the City of Sioux Falls. We looked at this opportunity to respond to the RFP very favorably for several reasons. First, we already had an existing relationship with the city through the golf course construction of Prairie Green in 1991, as well as the course renovation at Elmwood over the course of the last several years. We aim to be the trusted source for all of our clients' golf-related needs, and this is just another opportunity to do so. The city's golf assets have a really strong foundation to build on, First and foremost, they're good golf courses that are interesting and in good locations. And the existing staff and their relationships and local knowledge are also a positive asset. Geographically, we're close to home. Anytime we can get engaged with a client like the City of Sioux Falls and we can be on property in 3 hours or less, we like that scenario. Sioux Falls has a strong golf culture and participation level. At a golfer participation rate estimated to be 25% greater than the national household participation levels, we like our chances to compete for greater than our fair share of the market. And finally, we share the Midwestern values with the City of Sioux Falls and the people. We believe the approach to managing daily fee golf that we have fine-tuned over the past 30 years will move the needle for the city's golf courses and get them back to a level of profitability. Our approach begins with our people and our culture of service. Once we have a solid leadership team in place, which is critical and appears to be in place today, our philosophy starts with FISH, our customer service training program. Nearly 10 years ago, we recognized the need for a systematic approach to service training. We felt like that was one thing that we could do to improve our market share, and it didn't cost us one extra dollar to be spent. This is a cornerstone of a Landscapes Unlimited managed facility. We will compete by bringing our culture of sales and aggressive revenue management to the golf properties. We will fully employ our technology stack to include our partnership with EasyLinks Golf, BASE Customer Relationship Management, mobile-friendly tee times, in-moment, and our other custom marketing tools and social media philosophies. We will offer outstanding value related to course conditions. It is our objective to make our golfers feel like they are getting better course conditions than what they paid for, and to offer those conditions resourcefully by allocating the city's dollars responsibly. Understanding the challenges that the current facilities present, profitable food and beverage operations are also critical to our success. We will work to expand the offerings, create an environment that golfers want to support, and utilize our proven systems and purchasing power to drive profit. I'm naturally biased, but I am proud of the team of resources that we will deploy on the city's behalf, thought leaders in the industry, if you will, two of which are here with me this morning, Vice President Mark Mattingly and our Regional Operations Manager, Chris Jacobson. We are looking forward to working with the people of Sioux Falls to return the golf portfolio to profitability. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate those comments. One of the things that we also did is we wanted to make sure we had a city council representative on our review committee. I would ask if Marshall Selberg would come forward as our city council representative on the review committee.
Thank you, Director Carney. Good morning, everybody. This was my first RFP committee. I found it to be a very thorough process. It really does a nice job of clarifying. Many hours of homework, many hours of meetings. It's a commitment for those involved. They do a nice job of assembling a very diverse group to take a look at each program that they do, and they did in this case. And I'd like to take a moment to especially recognize the two citizen representatives that were part of this committee. RJ and Jim brought, I think, decades worth of Sioux Falls golf experience to this committee. Their input was invaluable, and they asked terrific questions, and I hope I'm not dating you by saying decades, but it was really good, and it was a nice combination of folks. They did a nice job, as did everybody on the committee. All of the competing firms were outstanding. They all had their strong points, a lot of good organizations, but at the end, we came to an agreed conclusion that Landscapes Unlimited, their complete package stood out, and they do have a history of working on some golf projects in Sioux Falls successfully. Let me just say about the local organizations that were competing for this. As far as Great Life goes, I think I speak for everybody on the committee. We have a great deal of respect for Mr. Walsh, his team, the organization, what they've done for this area and community. I have been a Great Life member since its inception in Sioux Falls, and I am a fan. I think we can say the same for Mr. Janza and the Dakota Golf Group. And the committee had a great deal of respect and gratitude for both their service, not just now, but throughout the years. And we also felt it was important that they remain a part of the golf operations of Sioux Falls. And that was part of this presentation, where we wanted them to have the opportunity to stay where they're at and work alongside Landscapes Unlimited. We think that it's a win-win for Sioux Falls if we can take the experience that they have and mesh it with Landscapes Unlimited. We think it's going to add to an enhanced golf experience for Sioux Falls. So all in all, I think it was a good process. I know everybody worked hard. It was not an easy decision, but I think this move will mean bigger and better things for our golfers and for the city of Sioux Falls. So thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. I appreciate your time and effort on the committee, because it is a big time commitment, and one that I know all the committee members took very seriously. One of the things that was interesting throughout this process is working with RJ and Jim. I don't know how many times they read the proposal and how many questions they asked, but to say that they were engaged in this process would be an understatement. They took it very seriously. They were very engaged, and couldn't have asked for two better citizen representatives. And so I'd like to have RJ come up now and provide his perspective on the review process and his thoughts on the whole process as well. RJ?
Good morning. And thank you, Don, for the opportunity on part of the Parks Department to participate in the process. It was quite interesting, and it was challenging. This is a process, and it's not a trivial one. When you start with an RFP that lays out what the city hopes to accomplish for the golf community, and that's part one, and then you go to part two, which is a set of 5 or 6 proposals that you have to read, and you don't do this in one reading of a proposal or of the RFP. It takes time to sort these things through. You go through it once, you come back and go through it again, you talk a little bit, have a couple of meetings, you listen to some interviews, and all of that leads to building a consensus of knowledge on issues that range from course management, course maintenance, staffing development, player development, how you maintain and upgrade your management staff, how you deal with marketing and social networking. All of those were factors that we didn't necessarily start out with a lot of knowledge about, but we learned an awful lot through the process of reading all of these proposals, and it was really an illuminating experience for me. And I guess I would say that my thought in thinking about what to say today is, I think the evaluation panel went into this and came out of it with the idea that we're, in this evaluation and this selection, we're a lot more focused on where we go from here than we were on where we've been. And I think that's the important thing for Sioux Falls, is to continue to develop this community. So that's all I have to, excuse me, that's all I have to say. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you.
Before we close, I wanted to hit a few other things. I wanted to talk about timeline. As part of, following this announcement today, we will start with contract negotiations with Landscapes Unlimited. We will ultimately develop a contract. That contract will be presented to the Parks and Recreation Board. The Parks and Recreation Board will ultimately make a recommendation to the mayor and the city council. Then it will move on to the city council for their review and consideration at a council meeting with the goal of having a contract in place prior to the end of the year. The other closing remark would be just wanted to thank everybody that submitted a proposal. If you've not been on a process like this, the amount of time and effort that goes into submitting a proposal is significant. They took it very seriously. The quality of the proposals were top-notch. As many of us said, it was a very difficult decision, but just on behalf of the city of Sioux Falls, we appreciate everybody's submittals and their time and effort to really do a bang-up job and really represent Sioux Falls really well as the other management companies that submitted. I also would like to thank the review committee for their time and effort once again. All of you did a great job of providing feedback, different perspectives, different thoughts. You represented a different mindset, which really allowed us to really have some good discussion and dialogue that ultimately led to our recommendation. And then I also like to thank the community. As Tom said, the amount of people in this room, this is a very important topic. We knew that, but we wanted to make sure we did it right versus fast. And our commitment to make sure that we did it right, I think, is something that we felt was very important. And so again, thanks for your patience as a community. We're really excited about the future of golf in Sioux Falls.